hello. Just hello, Patrick. Hello, Jean. Hello, Rem. So I didn't know. I hope nobody heard that. I was yelling because the dogs are fighting right at my feet. I'm pretty sure it mutes it when that's on. But never a dull moment with these dogs. Hello, Sylvie. Thank you for joining. We will get to our special guest. Oh, there's a photobomb. I'm going to get the dogs for me. We'll get to our special guest in a few minutes. I just got a little bit of business I want to do, and I find it takes people a few minutes anyway to come in. Hello, Tanya. I see you got the time and the day right. She went to my live last night. She thought she was late. I'm like, no, you're early. And I'm just going to fix my lighting. And as usual, let me know, is this lighting okay? Gosh, it is not flattering, the ring lights at all. I'm just going to give you guys a warning. I've had to reboot our internet 3 times today. Our weather, Winters decided they wanted to come back for a visit, so we haven't had the greatest weather today. If I'm hooked up directly to it, so hopefully that will be better. But if I get bumped off, just be patient. I'll be right back. So hopefully it lasts. Did I mention how much I hate our internet? And yet my tomorrow's video uploaded in like an hour today, which never happens that fast. So it's really hit and miss. But I'm just going to do a little bit of business with you all. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. I also have a website if you want to check it out, bucketlist.homestead.ca. It's been a little bit since I put a blog on there. I have a plan to do a few things this week on the website, but things have just been crazy here between Aiden being on March break and track and field practice started up again, and a few other things that have been going on. Lots of doctor's appointments, lots of specialist appointments. So hopefully I can get back to the website soon. And this month, if you, I am doing a contest right now. Sorry, I was reading the comments. I'm running a contest right now. If you sign up, I want to get 20 members to my channel. Right now we have 12, so we need 8 more. Once we reach 20, I'm doing a giveaway of a t-shirt, a Bucket List Homestead t-shirt to give away once we reach 20 members, and this will be open to everybody, and it will be a live giveaway. I never do taped giveaways. I won't reach out to you in the comments. I won't reach out to you. I'll actually ask you to contact me if you're the winner. So please don't fall for any of those lousy scammers that are scamming everybody right now. So we need 8 more members. It's 99 cents a month, and you can just click join. I'm not sure where it is on the screen because I don't have my YouTube app to help my internet. You just click join. And once we reach, we need 8 more members. Once we get 8 more members, we will do that draw. I will schedule it for a live on one of my Saturdays. And I have an Etsy channel. If you want to check that out, even if you just go and click the heart, that helps me get Etsy to share my channel on their site, kind of like the thumbs up on YouTube. It helps them say, hey, people are looking at this channel, and they'll promote it more. So I'd really appreciate it. And if you like anything here, by all means, do a little shopping. I actually added, what did I add? I actually added 3 or 4, maybe even 5 designs the last couple of days. So there's some new things there. So if you haven't been for a while, go check them out. I even added something for the puppies. And I think that's it for my news. Remy, what do you mean 5 free memberships is up for grabs? You get a month free if you sign up right now? That's new. I did not know that. So apparently if you sign up right now, you don't even have to pay the 99 cents this month. So, and there's 5 available. So now's the time to get your name in to become a member. And I do share things. I'm sharing more. You get video. You'll see videos that other subscribers don't see. You see photos that other subscribers don't see. I do some templates and things that I make that I share with my subscribers. Or my members. So if you're thinking about it, I guess now's the time to do it. I think that's all our news. I feel like a salesperson with all these things. So I'm going to bring up our guest. This is Tracy Hand from T-Hand 141 Homestead, and we are going to bring him up. And there he is.
Hey, everybody. How goes it? Yeah, Remy gifted those.
Oh my gosh, Remy. Thank you so okay. So Remy, don't you make me cry. That's not fair. So Remy has gifted 5 free memberships right now to anybody who wants to sign up and check it out. I'm really going to have to get off my butt and do some things now to show people that I do things. So Remy, I appreciate it. And I've seen a couple of new hello, just doing our best. Thank you for joining. And Jane W, hello, haven't heard from you in a bit. I hope all is well. And I think that's it. So let me hide this. Tracy, just tell a little bit about yourself to everybody who may not know who you are and where you live and what you do.
Okay, my name is Tracy Hand. I live in upstate New York. I'm getting an echo, I thought, for a second. Okay, it's gone. I live in upstate New York, not the city. Big difference. I've been homesteading most of my life without knowing about it. My adult life, we were in an apartment and we started gardening behind the parking lot for the apartment building. And then we moved to Port Leyden and we had 2/3 of an acre and we gardened and we got chickens and we got bees. And it just got too small. So we started looking for land, and about 7 years ago, we bought the land, and then about 6 years ago, we got the cabin finished, but we lived up here during the summers, off grid in our camper, and we'd bring the chickens up and all that. So I've been fully off grid for 6 years steady, and it's really cool because we started with a 100 watt. Actually, I think it was closer to 90 watt, but Harbor Freight system. We have Harbor Freight stores. They're kind of like discount tools and stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yep.
But we had one of those just to recharge the battery on the camper. And the camper had its own converter built in. And then when we said, okay, we're going to come up here and try to get everything done, we upgraded to a 200 watt system from Remedies. And then just last year, I upgraded to 1,000 watts of used solar panels I bought from a friend.
Oh,
and,
you're getting into one of my questions.
Sorry.
Well, one of them you answered. So, I mean, you said it's been about 7 years that you've been where you are now. So is that when you did the off-grid thing? Were you off-grid before at your other places, or?
No, we were fully on grid there. In fact, that's one of the reasons we decided to. There was an energy company that we were buying energy cheap from, but you had to call them every year in order to get the discount. And I forgot to call one year. We ended up paying almost $300 a month during that winter for electricity. And I said, never again.
That answers my question. I guess we should say before we start, I just want to say that before I met you and Patrick, who's also off-grid to me meant something totally different. I think I don't know for everybody, but when I would think off-grid, I would always think of a hermit out in the middle of nowhere in a little cabin, with no power, no running water.
You had me up. You were describing me up until the no power.
And he had, they'd bathe only in the warmer months because that's when they would have like the creek and everything, to bathe in. And so that, but I think I think maybe a lot of people have a lot of misconception about what off-grid means, because obviously you have internet because we're on here together. So you're obviously able to have internet. So, so you have internet. Do you have cable? You have power,
I have internet. I have power from solar, and then during the winter I have generators. Right now just the small generator is working. I haven't fixed the big one yet. But so I mean, you can see the lights behind me here. that I use, those are run by AAA batteries.
Okay. Yep. I have a lot of them too on my fireplace and everything. They actually brighten up quite a bit.
Yeah.
They really do.
I have, that's my heat lamps back there.
Yep.
Or not heat lamps, sorry, grow lights.
Grow lights.
They're the LED ones, and they use a cell phone charger to.
Yep. I have them
I
too.
love them.
I do too. They're awesome, and they're easier to put places.
I have a TV, and I have a Fire Stick that allows me to get all the Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, all that stuff.
Do you have running water?
Yes. We were about a year before we had indoor plumbing, but we had running water for quite a while before that. We put a bucket under the sink and carried it out. We did have, the outhouse is still out there. New York State doesn't like it. You have to have some kind of container to hold your waste in underneath the outhouse. But I'm pretty much set up like a camper. My water pump is on-demand water. I fill reservoirs. In the winter, I use 2 55-gallon drums that I pump from the well. And that's all run from my battery backup or solar. And then in the summer, I have 2 300-gallon water totes that I fill, so that helps. But yes, I have running water, showers, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So, and I guess so. Is your primarily source for power solar? Is that what you try to use? But we haven't had a lot of sun.
Yeah, in the winter this year, since my upgrade, I went from lead acid batteries to lithium batteries.
Okay.
And since I got them, I was able to get a freezer, and I only run the generator this winter. It was a really dark winter, it seemed. I only ran the generator like once every 3 days for a few hours a day. Usually about 1 tank of gas.
Okay. And with gas being what it is.
Yeah,
that's not. So I'm just sorry. I'm looking at my questions. David wrote some questions down too that he wanted answered. So one of the things he wanted to know, and this was a David question, he wanted to know if you think living off grid and being self-sufficient are the same thing.
Living off grid is a way of being more self-sufficient. I don't think I think it would be real hard in a normal size household to be fully self-sufficient. We try to be as like now my wife died a couple years ago, so I'm the only one here. And even with just me, it's hard to be fully self-sufficient, because I gotta tell you, man, I like my microwave. I've got a low wattage microwave, and there's times when I don't use it, and same with the coffee pot. I'll make instant coffee in the winter instead of using my Keurig. But what was the question again?
Yeah, no, he wanted to know, I'm not even sure, like he just wanted to know if living off grid and self-sufficient is the same thing.
Well, it's close. We're working towards self-sufficiency, and providing my own power is one of those ways, but I am still dependent on, like in the winter especially, my generators, they're dependent on gas. My stove is propane. Now I can be as self-sufficient on that. The most I can be as far as self-sufficiency on the propane for my stove and my refrigerator and my water heater is to go down and buy it myself, take the tank down and buy it myself. But I do have a service that comes. I have 200, I think they're 200-gallon tanks of propane that last me pretty much a year. This is my first year with them.
Okay.
And they've lasted me. I still don't need to fill them yet.
Yeah. I will say, I mean, we're not self-sufficient here. I mean, I will say we were always saying that if we ever win the lottery, we would build, because I would build so I wouldn't have to pay hydro companies, light companies anymore, and gas companies anymore. Like, we would try and go as that some of the houses actually we've been looking at down east, a couple of them are geothermal.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh yeah.
You can there. The problem is everyone that I talk to seems to think that, oh, you've got to be a millionaire to have a solar system. It can be expensive if you have someone else do it for you. You can get into some serious cash, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000.
Yep.
But my solar panels, I paid $100 a piece for them from a friend who trucked them up from Arizona when his son-in-law was working for the solar fields out there.
Wow.
And when they have to replace them before, and they've lasted me 2 years. Yeah. Almost, if not a little more than 2 years. And my whole solar system as it sits now, was well under $5,000.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, we've talked about it. We probably won't do it here, but when we move, like, even if, like David said, like, even if we have to go buy this panels ourselves and just have some things, especially if we have a barn, we would like our barn not to have to be hooked up to.
Yeah.
Because that can run a bit.
Yeah. My lights are on their own system. They're just basically it's a place made for camps, and the lights they're 200 lumens a piece. They have 3 settings, but they have their own battery, their own foot by foot solar panel that is on the front of the house actually. And you can charge them with an old Nokia. They come with the charger, but you can plug them in and I can charge them off the batteries on a sunny day, or when I run the generator and stuff like that. But now my wife, she wasn't a glamoury girl, a girly girl. So not having a blow dryer, not having a hair straightener or anything like that, anything that causes heat from electricity uses a lot of electricity.
I can remember my father when we would blow dry our hair and stuff, and it would be doing it forever, and he's like, oh, he says those blow dryers are killing us. And I mean, I myself, I could probably count on one hand how many times a year I use one. So I don't use it either. But yeah, because Aiden is always surprised that, he says, why is it always, because they learned a lot in one of his classes about energy and stuff. And he says, why are the little appliances such power suckers, Mom? And I say, because they are.
Anything that causes heat is usually some sort of dead short.
Yep. So Jane had a question. This is a good one, Jane, actually. I forgot about this. How do you handle laundry? Because washers, actually, I think the dryers are worse than that.
Yeah, the dryer pulls a lot of power.
I didn't use it a lot. I actually looked like I was off grid here 3 days a week, Tracy, because I had my clothes hanging up everywhere in the house.
I have a clothesline that runs. Each end of it has a D-ring, like for climbing on it. Yep. You can buy the packs of them. And I just put a big staple, one of the fence staples, in the wall there and in the wall over the door. And when I need it, I just unfurl it and run it. Well, it's up now, but so there's no dryer, but the washing machine is cheap. Energy Star. They have come a long way in those, and it's one of those that senses the level, because not only am I I don't want to say restricted, but not only is my electricity a commodity, but my water is a commodity.
Yes.
So if I only fill it a quarter way full, the washing machine a quarter way full, it only uses a quarter of the water.
Okay.
And I do, in the winter, I do laundry on sunny days. There have been times when I'd run my big, I have a 9,000 watt generator that is not running right now. I don't know why it quit. I'm going to have to look at that, but I have a horrible habit of tearing stuff apart and not putting it back together. But there have been times when I would run that to run the washing machine. But there are a lot of appliances that are just the Energy Star. You can figure out, okay, how many watts an hour are these going to use, and how they figure if it takes half an hour to do a load of laundry, then you can do two loads of laundry in an hour, and you have to do that math, and it's getting harder to find that information, how many watts, how many amps.
I know our new washer, it's so energy efficient that the cycle now is so short. It's not even, I mean, our old wash machine, a cycle would be like 35 minutes. I think this one is the shortest I can put it on, I think, is 22 minutes. And the clothes are clean. Like they're clean. So that is like amazing. Like my mother was shocked, like 22 minutes, is that long enough? I said, I promise you it will be long. It's new, Mom. They're new. So you don't have to run them. But I mean, like a lot of and for you, Tracy, you're a single guy. I have a house full, I have 2 teenagers. They're running the wash machine like a lot. So, but so I'm sure by yourself, you're probably not doing laundry every single day.
No, about once a week. And the I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm just sorry. I'm just going to let you gather your thought. I have a bunch of people who came in, so I don't want to say. So I saw, let me go back up here. Just doing our best. I think I did say hello to them. Hello, Diva in the Dirt. Thanks for coming by. And I saw Dave, I think I saw him. Hello, Mary Lynn. Yes, there he is. There's Dave Knight. Oh, I know I'm going to say your name wrong, honey. It's Meili. Did I say that right?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think so.
I hope so. Oh, and hello, Hickory Croft Farm. Hello, Steph and Chris. I am getting so excited to see everybody soon. Hello, Cindy Squirrel Off Grid. Oh, here's another Off Grid. Your people, Tracy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we're also. So Cindy says she has a dish. She doesn't run her dryer either. She doesn't have one. She hangs it up around the wood stove, which is exactly I have a dishwasher, and our solar system handles it no problem. You just don't do laundry or run the dishwasher after the sun goes down.
When we first came up here, before we had the cabin and before we had the indoor plumbing and the washing machine, we would do our lighter stuff. We had a literal 5-gallon bucket and homemade laundry soap and a plunger that was specially for that. And we would wash it and rinse it, and we had a wringer. And then we moved up to a 5-gallon bucket that had, we found these things. I think they were on Wish, and they don't work anymore, but they were like big pucks that would you'd suction cup them to the bottom of the 5-gallon bucket, and they would turn, and they plugged into a cell phone charger. But so we started off the more bushcrafty side of it, because we wanted to know. The reason we moved up here is because I believe in the Bible, and times are going to get tough. And so I believe in backups. If my washer goes down, I have everything I need, plus the knowledge to use it to do my laundry. If my stove goes down, I mean, we've done canning over an open fire before.
Yep.
I think that's one of my videos. And if my light system goes down, I have kerosene lanterns. I have a really nice one that I got Wendy for her birthday, but it's what she wanted.
Yep. No. My rule has always been, if they ask for it, it's okay. If they didn't ask for a vacuum, for God's sake, don't buy them a vacuum.
Right. But it's one of the Aladdin lamps that has it's got the wick, and then it's got a mantle, and that you can read by that one easy.
That's good. Oh, I just saying hello, Templin Acres. Thanks for dropping by. In the Monstrosity channel. I think you're first time here. So Patrick says, I got 2 kids here twice a week. Patrick is also off grid, for anyone in the chat that doesn't know. Washers are not the one that take them. I think he means take the most. The pump is though. Showers.
Yeah. my water pump, Patrick is set up. I love his setup. He's 24 volt where I am I'm 12 volt, which makes things, it kind of restricts me a little bit as far as how long my batteries will last compared to his, but he is set up like a normal house from my understanding. Whereas my water pump is a camper water pump that just, when it senses that the pressure in the pipe goes below 50 PSI, it kicks on and pumps the water. And then when you shut it off, pressure comes back up to 50 PSI and it shuts off.
So I'm just saying, Gene, just to have the light, $80. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's one of the reasons I see so many people on one of my local community groups, and they're saying a lot of people have moved to our area in this last year, and they're asking, is it normal to have these kind of light, we call them hydro bills here, light bill in the States? Is it normal to have these kind? And they're having like $500 and $600 a month bills. And I'm telling you, I would literally be physically ill if I had one of my utilities be that high. And a lot of them, it's their dryers. And I'm telling, I said, my bill, the highest we had was a little over 200, and that was because of Christmas time, with all the lights and everything. We usually, and so even the kids didn't even mind, like, as much of a pain as it is hanging up everything. They know that it's helping the family because we don't have. I couldn't do a $500 plus a gas bill plus everything else. Like, that is just And so
I come
my pain.
I
my
live
mother,
in an area.
my grandmother.
I live in an area where we have the Moose River runs into the Black River, and there are dams all up along the Black River that used to provide hydropower. They did away with them. Why? It's renewable. They've done them in such a way as that the fish can do what they need to do. They stock them anyway. But it just, what it is they want to go to solar panels and solar on an individual basis. I'm all for it. But when you start these big solar farms, when they replace these solar panels, they go in the dumpster, and then there's no way that I know of, that I've ever heard of, that they can recycle a solar panel or the windmills blades. And the windmills use tens or 20, that they use a lot of petroleum products for lubrication.
We have windmills here in Ontario, several of them, and there's been lots of controversy with them because they've also hurt a lot of the wildlife in their habitats. And there's been a lot, and like some people are saying, they're not becoming the savior that they made them out to be. Remy, I have to ask you though, you have electric heat too, right? So this is for your heat and running your lights and stuff, 450. That's still a lot. I don't know why we want to go back down east. I'm trying to remind myself.
He's also got
a lot of people in his house.
There's, I think, 7 of them. At least 3 of them that I can think of are female, which that ups the electricity when you're talking about a girl going to high school, middle school,
Yeah.
you know.
Or you have a teenage boy who, I mean, you know, I'm not complaining the fact that he likes to shower, because I know there's a lot of teenage boys who don't. So I am going to be happy that he likes to shower. But this is Fred, actually, the Monstrosity Channel. Fred from Hickory Cross
Oh,
Farm.
Fred.
And Fred, your human roommate is right. Our delivery fees are, we look at it, and our actual usage is nowhere near what all the charges are. It's insane.
Yeah.
And that's where they get you.
And I understand they have to have infrastructure. Cat, you are driving me batty. They have to have infrastructure. They have to have the wires and maintain them and all that. But it's ridiculous, because some of what's hurting, and I would imagine this is hurting Canada as well as the United States, is our windmill farms in Lowville. There's a huge, I believe it's Maple Ridge Windmill Farm, hundreds of windmills, and they send the power to New York City, and then it's also sold to Canada. Yeah. You guys are buying our power. If they would keep it local, they wouldn't make as much money, but it would be cheaper for us.
Yes. And wouldn't they make more money in the long run, because then everybody would be using it? So they like that's a whole other
yeah.
But Cindy, I literally $750 a month. That's a mortgage payment. I can't imagine. I just, yeah, that
and the great
I have no comments on the turbines. I think Tanya's first husband, her I think he, and I'm not saying they're necessarily, I just don't, they're not using them the way they need to. Like Tracy, like you said, they're farming it like everything else out of country.
Yeah.
So trying to keep them in. We also have a lot of solar farms here in Ontario. There's a lot of farmers who've got the solar in their fields now, and part of their fields. And my mother was like, oh my God, like we drove by one. She's like, how many panels? And there's like thousands on this one farmer. But the thing is he doesn't get any of the solar.
Right.
It's a program that our hydro company has here where they'll pay you a fee for, and it's pennies. They don't pay you. And they only do it for like 5 years. And then after that, they don't pay you anymore.
You pay in New York, they have the grid connected. You make solar for them for the summer, and you bank that much energy. And then if you use over that in the winter, you have to start paying a bill again.
Yeah. I'm just reading like everybody. I can tell everybody's Tanya, we did have a timer. We had egg timers for a long time in the bathrooms, because Grace gets in there and she thinks it's the perfect place to sing. So she does whole shows, and we're like, you've been in there, because out here we can hear our pump running. So we know how long you've been in the shower, because I'll be like, that pump's been on for quite a while.
Yeah.
So the kids got used to it because the egg timer, and after a while we just took it out of there because they just automatically, muscle memory, they knew. They're kind of sliding back a little bit now, and they're staying in a little too long. So we might have to, I go out and I turn the cold water on in the kitchen, and that's it. Like, come on. But you have to send me 7 showers, dishwasher, nonstop, dryer. Yeah.
And as far as like the wind turbines, I would like to get me to install a wind turbine here.
That was more information than we needed to know.
What's that?
Just reading Ruby's comment. Okay.
That's not what she says. Sorry. But the wind turbines, the wind farm, I have to say, it has helped the economy in the area, because the people that are working there get paid really good. It's a dangerous job, but they get paid well, and it does help.
Dave Knight.
I'm glad somebody's getting cheap power from it.
Yeah.
But I am not grid tied at all.
Hello, Don. Thanks.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I know the bat. I mean, we actually were one of the things we want to do this year. We want to put we have a lot of bats here in the summer. So we want to put some bat houses up down back because we have a lot of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And we have a problem with our bats here. Quite a few of them got that. Gracie told me what it's called, white nose disease or something that's killing them. So they're asking for people, hey, if you've got the property, they even have a program where they're going to give us the bat houses. So I'm like, yeah, we'll put a couple on our property. Absolutely. Like, come eat all the mosquitoes you can.
Yeah. Nightfall Homestead. I heard about birds and bats being killed by the wind turbines, but I was talking to my brother one day. I think we were at a gas station. We were sitting inside eating, and we were talking about this, and this girl comes up and she says, by the way, they pay me $24 an hour to go pick up the dead birds and bats. So, because we were saying, nah, there's no way it's killing birds, or, they're smarter than that. And she says, yeah, they pay me to do it.
Here it was actually turtles that are endangered. We've got a couple endangered species here in Ontario, and I guess they're building them where they lay their eggs, their nesting areas. So that was affecting a lot of them, and they're already endangered. So that was the big controversy, because where they chose to put them was probably not the greatest spot.
Right.
So
it's like when our president, 3 times removed or whatever, President Obama went to northern Alaska and did a whole speech about solar power. It's dark for 6 months in Alaska. I mean, literally night. Yep. Solar power is not the way to go in Alaska, I don't believe.
No, David was there. David was there for a while, and he said it is wild and crazy because it's like 2 a.m, because he was there both times, summer in, and he said it'd be like 2 a.m, and like all the hotel, they have like these blackout curtains because you can't sleep because your body's like, oh, it's morning. No, it's still nighttime. I don't think I could handle it. I guess after you get used to it, but yeah, if we didn't put timers on, the kids would be there too. So yeah, I know this is a personal question, Tracy, but
that's fine.
Being off grid too, do you have a mortgage anymore? Like, is that something that?
Yeah. We took out a line of credit on our house in Port Leyden to buy this property. Okay. And I figured, well, that way we would, if anything ever happens, because I live on a pension, and if anything ever happened to the pension, then we would still have this land free and clear. But then that was a variable rate mortgage, and I just in time switched and got a mortgage on the house, which I still have the money set aside from the mortgage to build my barn, God willing, and the creek don't rise. So yes, I do have a mortgage.
Now, I should have asked this in the beginning. You bought property. Did it already have a house, or did you build the house?
No, we bought a 20-acre woodlot.
Okay.
And on a seasonal road. And Wendy and I and my brother Trevor and his family, we cleared it. We cleared about 3 acres on it, and created the yard and everything you see on my videos. So yeah, we cut it right out of the woods.
Okay. So yeah, so kind of like what Angie and Mike are doing, building their own.
Yeah. Just not as nice, because I moved in before we got done. So I still have the R19 wallpaper up.
Oh,
in places.
I was gonna say our garage looks like that right now. It was bad on us that we didn't get to it, because now the mice have decided the insulation was great. So
yeah,
that's a project so everything we're going to do in the house this summer and fall is now all going to the garage. So yay. Let me see. So David wanted to know if you use any home remedies for injuries or illnesses or anything like that. I know the answer, but
absolutely. I have Wendy's magic cream for when I'm doing wood, my hands will lock up, and because Wendy wasn't as strong as I am, I cut my wood, my firewood, the size, if I could pick it up by the end with one hand, then that was small enough that she could handle it.
Yeah.
And I would get to the point where I couldn't pick up it, my hands wouldn't tighten enough, and the pain. And Wendy has a cream. I've got a video on it. That she made with camphor oil, eucalyptus, and peppermint oil, the essential oils, and you use vitamin E cream from the dollar store as a base, and that works great. I have tinctures of goldenrod, as long as you're not allergic to goldenrod, that you put 3 drops under your tongue and you can feel your sinuses and your chest open up. It is amazing. And I have an echinacea tincture. And yeah, we do a lot of the herbs and medicinal remedies, cuts, scrapes in the summer. And I do have some plantain that I dried. I'll make a paste out of, but I use plantain on them. I try to avoid doctors because they only get paid when you're sick. So what is their motivation to fix me? Yeah. Nothing against doctors. It's a great profession.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. I've seen more than my fair share myself. So I try to avoid them as much as I can too. Are you far from town? Like, are you?
The Stewarts is about 5. Well, if in the winter it's 5 minutes because I can't use the seasonal road all that way. In the summer it's about 6 or 8 minutes to the Stewart's shop and a Dollar General, and in the summer it is I want to say 5 minutes maybe. Walmart is about 20 minutes away.
So not much. I mean, not much different from where we are. We're maybe 10 minutes from our big Walmart.
No.
So that's the traffic now. It's 10 minutes. It used to be about 6.
Yeah. Trevor and Matt pick on me and they say, well, if you didn't move to the city, because I literally was farther from grocery stores and stuff in Port Leyden when I lived in the town and village of Port Leyden than I am now.
Yeah. See, that's another misconception people may have, that you're like 3 hours from town in order to be off grid.
My neighbor, there's a young couple, Misty and Alex, that just put in a trailer up by the snowplow turnaround, and they ran power. They have full power.
Yeah. So it's not that you couldn't, but you don't want to. That's the whole point of
yeah. It was very deliberate.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I mean, we always say, like, I mean, I think that's the dream, where you're not reliant on the hydro, because the fees and stuff, it drives me crazy paying that money and then with our hydro company, they stopped by in the new year and said, your smart meter, which we didn't even know we had a smart meter on our because it was already here when we moved in. I had no idea. And they said the smart meter stopped talking to the home office. I said, oh, when? They go, we're not sure. So I said, so what does that mean for us? And he says, well, they've just been doing estimates for your bills. He said he showed, and this is just the guy, like, I didn't take it out on him because wasn't too happy with it either. He said, he said, if you look on your bill, there'll be this code on the second page. I said, there's 2 pages. I didn't even know there was 2 pages to my hydro bill because it comes in an email. And he said, yeah, because there was nothing on it, a bunch of goobly-gook, I thought. Mm-hmm. So he said, there's a code on the second page. Look for that code. Start going back a couple of months when you start seeing that code, that's when it stopped talking. So I immediately go on and had stopped talking to them for 4 months.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh no. Lucky for us, they overestimated how much, because we're not a typical family, because I'm not using my dryer, I'm doing everything. So we actually end up being free. And like, we didn't have all I could see was we're going to have like this huge bill. Nope, nothing. If anything, our bill, when it finally caught up in February, our bill was the lowest it's been in a couple of months because they overestimated. So,
when they estimate, see, in Port Leyden, they would do a direct read one month, and then the next month they would estimate, and then they would do a direct read. This is before the smart meters came, and now they just drive through and it's supposed to read them or whatever. But very few people look at their bill or question. My mom would be like, my bill is $10 higher than it was last month. Why? And they would say, oh, this was your estimation month. She says, well, you estimated too high. And they say, okay, ma'am, we're going to credit you that $10.
Yeah. To me, I look at my month, I look at the bill, and, cause I know roughly, and if it was really crazy, but I'd be like, okay, as long, so, I mean, and I do look at the bill, cause I look and see, oh yeah, look at that. We only use like $60 in hydro, yet we have a $82 in fees, but I just, it was about, there was 2 months where I thought, gosh, that was a little high, but I thought, okay, it's fall. We're using the stove a lot more. The fireplace was on. So because we have an electric fireplace. So I didn't think a whole lot out of it. It wasn't crazy higher. It was just higher. So yeah. So the guy said, yeah, they're the older. He said, it's at least 10 years old. I said, well, it has to be because we've lived here going on 9 years, and, it's the only one we know. And he said, they're all notorious for shutting down. He said, the new ones have a much longer life or whatever. But yeah, so
yeah, and if they're estimating, they're coming out on the good side. I've never known a big company that will estimate to their detriment.
Yeah, exactly. So I was worried. I was saying a lot of prayers, like, please. So I just like, and you're not in a hurry. Like, you're wondering why it's not reading. It takes you 4 months, seriously, before you. So I'm just trying to see what other questions do we have here. I think we've answered a lot without me asking. This is a weird, I don't know what David meant by this, but he wanted to know if you have ways to utilize your own recyclables, I guess, to turn it into.
Yeah, I do. I recycle. I will keep things to use. Like, I had an old canopy, and I used the rods. 2 of the rods right now I put through my garage tent on the bottom, so on the door, so that I can roll that up easier. New York State has the recycle buyback type thing with water and soda and stuff. You get 5 cents a bottle back. They charge you 5 cents a bottle when you buy it.
You're just getting your money back. We had that in Ontario, and down east has it too.
I do that with my water bottles because I have a shallow well, and it's 16 foot, and it's pretty much surface water. So I cook with it and stuff, but it's really hard water. So I try not to drink it just in case. And I do have to check, because I'm on my own system, I'm responsible for it. I have to check for coliform and different levels of things too.
Yep. No, we test ours too. We're on a well, but our well is very, very deep. When we bought our house, we had the well inspector come out, and he's like, I can't really give you a true inspection. He says, because the well won't empty. He said, usually, like, 3 hours. And he said, it's still, like, he said, by 3 hours, this should be empty. He said, so I think you've got a pretty good well here.
Yeah.
But he said, he didn't even charge us, because he said, I really can't write you up anything because it didn't empty, and I couldn't see how long it took to fill back up because it never. So, but we have hard water. So we do have a water softener, because we have a on-demand hot water tank. So that has to have a softener or we'll destroy it. So,
well, I have a propane on-demand hot water tank, and I mean, that's where I got my water pumped.
Yeah, my parents had that in Maine.
But it's one of those things where I have filters in the line, but softeners require electric, and I've just never taken that step.
Right. Yeah. They the people who lived here before actually disconnected the water softener that was here when we first moved in, because he said it used too much electricity. So we called the company. He said maybe $10 a year is all that was costing them. He said, and we ended up having to replace it because it just sat for too long and wasn't doing its job. But Yeah, that's one thing when we move, because we did put a on-demand system in. We have natural gas here in Ontario, so best thing we ever did. Best thing. My parents had one, so I already knew how good they were. But with 2 teenagers, it was the best. So I told David, the next place, if it doesn't have one, it's one of the first things we're putting in.
Yeah, it took some getting used to, because with the tank, it's always keeping that water hot. So the water in the hot water line to your sink and to your shower is always warm.
Yeah.
And now I have to turn on, like to do dishes, I have to turn on the faucet and wait for the hot water from the on-demand tank to get there.
Oh, see here, I turn on the hot water and it's almost instantaneously hot.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. So I told David, I said, that's why I was asking Remy, is there natural gas in New Brunswick? Because we couldn't remember. And there is some places that have it, but we'll probably end up having to do the propane tank, the pig, as my parents used to call it, to do the on demand. But it's worth it because, I mean, that lowered our electric bill huge too.
Well, the great state of New York has got legislation that they're trying to pass to get rid of wood. What is it? Wood, propane. I'm not sure, natural gas. They're trying to turn it all to electric.
Electric. That's what they. A certain premier here in Ontario a few years ago tried. Yeah, and people were like, no, like.
Because we need to be like California with rolling blackouts. But anyway.
Yeah. Is it a wood stove you have for heat or a furnace?
A wood stove.
Wood stove. Yeah.
My cabin is 32 foot by 32 foot. It's open except for the bathroom and the pantry. Those are closed in. The bedroom is 3/4 the way open. So it heats everything. In fact, right now I'm sweating.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the winter, I have to open windows. And I've already told people, I think on my channel, that if they try to do away with wood stoves, I won't comply. I can't.
No.
I bought 20 acres. I have 20 acres.
Yep.
I have enough firewood to last me the rest of my life and my grandkids' lives if I maintain it right.
Yep. I mean, we had a wood stove when we moved in here, but it wasn't maintained, and it ended up being, we couldn't use it. Our insurance was like, no way were they going to cover us, because it was, and that's why the old owner planted so many trees all the time, because he was using the trees and then he would plant them. I know if we go down east, we're probably going to want to have a wood stove as one of our heating sources, just to help, because oil is so expensive.
Yeah.
And I can remember opening windows because we lost our furnace our first winter we lived here. Like literally, we went to use our furnace and it. We actually did use the wood stove just till we could get a new furnace installed, because it was January and we had 2 little kids and I was bald and we were freezing. We did, and there get to the point where we were so hot. So it works good. I found it just heated here. Like it wouldn't. We all slept downstairs for a couple of nights because the upstairs was so cold. But I mean, the heating oil, going back to that's going to be hard. We had that in Nova Scotia and it broke us. Whew, it was hard. We also lived in a military house that was very old and had very bad windows, and to make it feel like 70, we had to have the heat on almost 80. Wow. So you can imagine the heating oil just burned like crazy. So that didn't help. So I think I don't know if anyone in the chat too, if you have any other questions. I know Jane had a couple and there was one way back. Let me see if I can.
There was one, I think someone asked what kind of batteries I use. I suggest, if you're going to make the investment, they are expensive. I recommend the lithium. They're called LiPo 4. And Ampere Time on Amazon, you can buy their batteries. Renogy has good batteries, but I got the Ampere Time. I went from I think, let's see, I want to say I had a little over 900 amp hours of storage with the lead acid batteries. I went down to 800 with the LiPo 4s, and I am now running a freezer, a stand-up freezer off a regular electric one, plus everything else I use, because it's like with the new drill batteries, the lithium drill batteries, you can run a drill and it will stay full power right up until the end, and then it's got one of these curves where where it goes straight and then all of a sudden it's, whereas a lead acid battery will just kind of go down over time. You'll lose power over time. They are expensive, but like I said, if you do it right, the DIY systems that I have, I bought everything separately, and it's I think even with the batteries, I'm just under, no taxes or shipping or anything like that. But I went on Amazon and I think it's just under $4,000 that I paid for my system. Now, over the years, I've had to, with the lead acid batteries, they didn't last as long. They might last 3 years, 4 years. But the ones I used, I had to replace them once. They were $100 a battery, whereas the lithium batteries, last I knew, were around $700 a battery, but they will last way longer.
And when you think about how much are you paying in bills, a couple of months bills, and there's your batteries.
Figure average it out to $120 a month or $100 a month even on electric bill, and $1,200. Well, that's a battery, almost 2 batteries right there.
Yes. And so I know you love off-grid, Tracy, but what are some of the cons? Or do you think there are any?
No, there are definitely cons. The way I'm set up, I am set up for maximum efficiency rather than convenience. Whereas my new system, I could have a regular well water system instead of filling my tanks, because my well is not always dependable. I sometimes have to do things that normal people don't have to do, like fill my water barrels once every 2 weeks or whatever. Electricity is a commodity. Before I use my microwave, I check the weather and see what the weather is going to be for the day. I check before I make coffee with the coffee pot, the Keurig machine. I go and I check and see what my volts are, what my batteries are at. And if the batteries are low, or I'm not going to be getting a good, clear, sunny day, I either start the generator or I make instant coffee, which is fine with me. Instant coffee is just as good, I think. It's different. It's a totally different animal than the perk coffee, but you just have to pay more attention. It's not like I go to my brother's house and every once in a while I'll knock on the door, nobody answers, so I'll open the door and there are lights on and everything, and I'm like, Trevor, Taylor, Brendan, I'll call out their names and stuff, and I don't think anybody's home. Now, his son might be in the back room playing a video game or something in his, but there are lights on.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah, when I leave a room, my lights go off.
I mean, we're not off grid, but Lynn doesn't like having a huge hydro bill either. I like to put my money towards something else. So Jane has another question for you, Tracy. Do you think roof mount or rack mount for the panels?
Depends on where you live. Where I live, a roof mount would be too hard to clean off because they do collect snow. I have a rack mount that I built myself with 4x4s and 2x4s. It wasn't that difficult, and I can change their direction. In the winter, the sun is low in the south sky, so I can I can elevate them to stand up so that the sun hits them. And then in the summer, they're almost flat, so because the sun is higher in the sky. And that just helps me maximize. There are people who have systems where they adjust them 4 times a year for each season. It just helps me maximize the efficiency. And with the snow that I get, my roof does shed snow very well, but it would make it too hard for me to go out in the morning when the sun is coming through the trees and say, okay, it's going to be a sunny day, and go out and clean the solar panels off.
Right.
But if you live down south or somewhere that snow is not a factor, I don't see anything wrong with the roof mounts.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking. I don't
know.
I don't know what Remy and Mary Lynn are talking about. Woohoo! I see woohoo and LOL Remy's. I don't know, because I don't have my internet so bad. I might as well be living off grid, I guess. I can't have both. I can't have like my YouTube page open and StreamYard. So, but thank you, Diva, for coming in. I hope, I know, I find it, because like I said, a lot of people have misconceptions about what off-grid is. Yeah. And a lot of people think it's crazy. People are going, why would you do that? 2023. Why would you be off-grid in 2023? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Yeah,
that's why my channel, kind of the icon there that I have for my channel is off-grid in the 21st century. Because I like my comfort. I like to be able to turn on the TV and plan it on the couch. I like flush toilets and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like indoor plumbing.
we learned how to live bushcraft style, with minimum. I mean, doing dishes in a wash basin on the tailgate of the truck, and stuff like that. We know how to do that, and we have the backups. We have everything we need to do that in case, because I don't have any electric lightning protection for my system. That's one of the next things I want to get. Yeah. If an EMP hits or something to that magnitude and I lose my solar, I want to make sure my life is going to go that I can still live fairly comfortable.
Yeah. This is a good question. I think Jean has. I wish I thought of it, Jean. She's wondering, as the years go by and, that good old age, because it happens to all of us, is it going to affect how you live off grid? And do you have plans for that?
Well, number one, I do my best to, I try to stay healthy. I have been fighting with my weight. I mean, I'm not morbidly obese, but I've been fighting trying to lose weight for a long time because I'm lazy. But I have been streamlining things. I got a tractor, just to make things easier. But yeah, there are certain things. I used to use a gasoline pump, a gas water pump, to pump water from the well through hoses. It was a 1-inch pump to fill my water barrels. Well, I found a nice DC in the well pump, put it down the well. And so now all I have to do is take and put the hose in the barrel and flip a switch. And 20 minutes later, I got a 55-gallon drum full of water. So yeah, age is definitely a factor. But I'm trying to live my life now with that in mind, with my garden close to the house, with like building the barn. I'm trying to build that with what my intentions in mind, so that I can take all that into account. And when I'm oh, if I make it to 70, I'll still be able to live this lifestyle, because I do love it. It is it people say, oh, you're crazy. They think bushcrafting, living in a branch hut,
Dave Knight just said, thanks for explaining that off-grid people are not the Unabomber.
No, we're not. Now, I am kind of a hermit. I try to stay home as much as possible. Well, yeah, anything with a card, microchip in it, can be affected by an EMP, because what an EMP does is electromagnetic pulse it's like a bolt of lightning hitting that piece of equipment, and it's not designed to take that much power, and so it overloads the system, burns out the chips,
fries it basically.
Yeah. There are things you can look up online, and I think last time I checked, for a house system for my solar system, it would be like $300 or $400, and you plug it in. I think it's between the solar panels and the charge controller, and what it does is it absorbs extra electricity if you get a big power boost.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably where homesteading and off-grid have something in common, is we're trying to do things now to prepare for 20 years from now, because I still want to be able to garden. But I mean, I already have a lot of physical limitations with some things that chemotherapy left me with. And we're actually working on helping that, because I had a lot of days last year where I could not move for 3 days. Like I was in a lot of pain, and my vertigo has just been so bad lately. I keep putting off, Mary Lynn's gonna smack my hand, but I keep putting off calling the chiropractor to talk, because I got to get it done, but I'm so scared to go. But I've been doing a lot more research, and it really sounds like it might be something that could be a miracle for me. Like
they used to really look down on chiropractors, but they can do amazing things now. And Off-Grid with Doug and Stacy, when he broke his ribs, instead of going to the emergency room, they self-treated, but they needed an x-ray. They went to the chiropractor, who had an x-ray machine, right? And it was a lot cheaper for them to pay out of pocket.
Yeah, you gotta make sure he's not, I mean, other than making sure you're not puncturing the lung or a broken rib, there's not much a doctor can do for broken ribs.
Right.
You can't, right? I remember that episode of Little House on the Prairie where all they could do was wrap Charles up, right? He just had to heal.
A lot of times they don't wrap them anymore.
No, they don't, and you just have to wait. I hear you, Jean, rather. I know. Tracy's talking about his hands, and mine are just like throbbing right now, because I've been doing a lot of crocheting too. So that doesn't help, but I'm going to make some of that with that camphor oil and stuff.
Yeah, hold on, Kat. 1 second. It's right here.
Here, my hands hurt. Like
we go to the dollar store.
Stuff.
We buy these. With this vitamin E cream, you take the essential oils, 20. Okay, now I say 20 drops. When I made it, it wasn't as strong. When Wendy made it, because my drops were 1, 2. Hers were 1,
I just go 2. Boo, 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 boo. Yeah, that's what I do.
20 drops of camphor oil. 20 drops of eucalyptus oil, and 20 drops of peppermint.
I have all of them.
And you just mix it up.
I actually have that made. It's very similar to the homemade Vicks Vapor Rub I made for the kids. It sounds almost exactly the same ingredients. There's one other, I put cinnamon oil, I think, in the one for the Vapor Rub too. But that vitamin E oil, I can't find it here. And my mother actually sent it to me, because I get it in the States. And when we went over to take her back in August to fly home, we went through and I bought like tons of it. I'll tell you what it's great for: bug bites. I got mosquito bites, and I rubbed that in, and I had no itching. They didn't puff up. Nothing. It was like the best stuff for bug bites. So
Nice.
we're getting low on our supply. We got to make another run to the state. I think I can get it on Amazon. I think, but it like Walmart, it comes in a pack of 2, and it was less than $4. It was crazy. I'm
Yeah.
like this. And my father suffers from eczema, and a nurse
Yeah.
and a nurse practitioner who does a lot of holistic things. She's the one who recommended it, and it has been like. And Dad had prescriptions, everything, and nothing has worked nearly as well as that stuff.
This recipe is one of the reasons I started looking at the herbalism and the essential oils and stuff like that, because my hands were hurting. I came in, Wendy said, rub some of that on your hands, and I put it liberally on my hands. 5 or 10 minutes later, I was walking out. Wendy says, I thought your hands hurt. I said, not anymore. It just worked that quick and that good.
I'm so mad at myself that I didn't think to use that, because I used a coconut oil base because, but the only thing about that is it's greasy.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't absorb like this stuff does. So I have a whole unopened tube of that. I'm going to make up a batch of that tomorrow because my hands are bugging me. I just read it. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of research, and apparently chiropractic has a 90 or 95% success rate in curing Meniere's and vertigo. By doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to, because I don't even take medication anymore because it wasn't doing anything. I basically was taking pills for nothing.
Yeah.
So I haven't been on them for a while, and I have back issues too. So, and my mother went for her hip, and she's like, she couldn't get over how she said it's been a while, so she's thinking about going back. So I'm just nervous, and what I'm really nervous about, if they make a loud crack, I'm worried I'm going to scream bloody murder just out of So I hope
I'm sure they're used to it. I'm sure they've got people that do that, that react to the sound, because it is. I've been to a chiropractor. I hurt my back when I was a flour miller of wheat, made wheat flour, specialty wheat flours, and I hurt my back, and I went to the chiropractor, and he made parts of my body pop and crack that I didn't know moved. I mean, it was just, and I felt so good.
Could I send you a quote I read?
Absolutely. I have an email on my channel, and then I have Facebook. I'm Tracy Hand, TracyHand.
Looks like a big syringe. That sounds scary, Jean. My mom goes to the chiro for vertigo. She would have hospitalizations or. Oh, see, just I know. And mine is, I'm hoping it's something they can correct, because mine was caused by damage to my inner ear from chemotherapy. That's why I have this Meniere's disease, and it's been just really bad. And I can't really say why it got worse, but it had something to do with the big thing that everybody had to do 2 years ago to kind of participate in anything.
Yeah.
Do you smell what I'm cooking?
Yeah.
And I didn't get any more because even my doctor thinks that has a lot to do with it, because the kind of one I got, it makes sense that it affected my balance. So that's all I will say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble, but
right.
It is one of the problems. It did get worse. I mean, I already had it, but it just made it worse. It's just frustrating because it makes I can't do yoga anymore because I go downward dog and I stay down because I just get so busy. But Tracy, if you want to put your email right in the comments there, you can.
Okay. Jean, you are showing up as a member, if that's what you guys are talking about.
Worked? Yeah, see, I haven't even gone. So, I guess I did it.
Okay.
No, it has nothing to do with the states, because I think half my members, are American that I have already. So, okay.
I don't know if it gave a link, but that's my email. You can copy and paste it. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Thanks for dropping by, Jane. We're getting ready to wrap up soon anyway. I think I have. So I guess, Tracy, I mean, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. This is definitely something you don't regret doing. I take it. Like you're.
Absolutely not. Number one, getting to the point where I am now was something that my wife and I did that just, it glued us together. There is not a place on this homestead that I don't see her doing something, even if it was scolding me for something I did. But now with, it's kind of like freedom. Until New York State outlaws it, which they probably will one day, my home is not dependent on someone else providing that. That's kind of what it's about, is the difference between being a consumer and a producer. I don't have to do anything, but I am producing electricity when the sun is out. And it's just such a good feeling. This morning, I don't know if you saw in our messenger thingy there, I made an omelet from eggs I collected that morning, kale leaves that I picked right off the plants behind me.
Yep.
And you know, the propane for the stove and the cheese are purchased, but
Great.
that it just tastes so good. And to know that that's mine. I didn't make the eggs, but I produced them.
Yep.
And same with the kale, and it's just a freedom that, I mean, my mom used to call me. She doesn't anymore. She used to call me and say, "Hey, is your power out?" Like, nope, Mom, my power's working fine.
No, I think it's the same feeling like I get when I realize just how little I've had to buy at the grocery stores the last couple of months. Like I just, it just hit me. I'm like, I have not been down that aisle like since like October, like or even sooner. Like so I mean, it does. I think. And when people say, why would you want to do that in 2023? I think that's probably the greatest answer is the freedom you feel, the what's the word I'm looking at? Just you feel, I feel proud because I'm thinking, because I grew this and I preserved it and I know what is in it, what's not in it. I know what I'm feeding my family because of it. And yeah, it's a lot of work and I'm exhausted in August and September, but man, in January when I'm popping those lids, it's like the best feeling.
And you're in the position where you can cook from scratch, which means that you're buying ingredients rather than products.
Yeah.
And that can save you a lot of money.
Yeah.
When it really, during that thing we went through a couple years ago in LA, the mayor of LA told the people that if we see you having a big gathering for Thanksgiving, we will shut off your utilities. And that just struck me is, number one, that is nowhere near legal according to the Constitution. But
a landlord can't even do that to you if you haven't paid your bill.
Yeah. And that possibility being there, because like I stated, I touched on earlier, I believe the Bible, and control is anything that other people can have to control me. I want to get rid of. There are things that my vehicle, the laws, and there are things that I can't take control of, fuel prices, stuff like that. But there are things that I can control.
Yeah.
Growing what I can of my food. I'm not going to be self-sufficient and grow. I mean, Hickory Croft, they grow like 80% of their own
Yeah.
food. They
Yeah.
do. That is amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
But I can take a big chunk of it from hunting and fishing and gardening and stuff.
That's the word I was looking for, Gene. It does give you peace of mind. I think it does, right? And I mean, and Tracy must love it. Like when they're saying, "Oh, there's chances of power outages tonight because of a storm or whatever," and Tracy's like, "Okay, so what?
Yeah,
Welcome
yeah.
Tuesday."
The grid going down would not affect me. However, when I start seeing sleet and I start thinking, when I lived in Florida, we had softball sized hail at times, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, my solar panels,
Solar panels,
that's
that's some of the. I mean, there's just some things with and like you said, you can't control the weather. I mean,
right.
boy,
And
I could have, I would have last year.
Yeah. And whereas I have the freedom from the system, I'm also free from the safety of that system. When something goes wrong with my power system or one of my off-grid systems, I have to fix it. And when you're talking solar panels and stuff, you're talking 1 amp can kill you.
Yes.
And I'm dealing with 40, 50 amps at a time. If I have to be really safe. And
plus the expense comes out of your pocket too, right? Like, I mean, like you're saying, your generator went down, your big one, so you got to fix that. So yeah,
but it's the same with being isolated.
Even with all that, you still would choose to do this. So I think that says a lot.
Absolutely. I'm the type of personality where if I don't have to do something, there's a good chance I won't do it. I won't let my animals go without or suffer. So my chickens actually get me outdoors every day because I have to go let them out. Then I have to shut them in. My garden, I have to take care of it because I want that freedom. Otherwise, when I lived in Port Leyden, I mean, my friend Matt would tell you, I was dying, sitting on a couch as content as could be, watching from the news in the morning to primetime TV.
Yep.
It was
I know horrible. We've watched a lot of TV in the winter, but that's what winters are for.
Yeah. I still have to be careful of that because when I eat, I like to eat in front of the TV and now I can binge entire seasons of Stargate SG-1 and the various, Yellowstone and all those things.
Yeah.
I got to be very careful with that.
It's really hard for us because we only got decent internet that's available for streaming a little over a year ago. So we're way behind on everything people have been watching for the last few years, all those shows. So for us, they're all new. And it's, it's been, and then we went and put a TV in our bedroom, which I've avoided. We had one years ago, and I said no more because this was before we had kids, and David was a shift worker, so we'd stay up on his nights off. When he was on night shift, we'd stay up until 6 a.m. because our schedule, I made my schedule his schedule because that's when I would see him. And it was awful. So we got rid of it. Well, then 2 months ago, we decided to put the extra TV we had in the other room because we needed to get rid of it. So we might as well put it up in our bedroom. Oh my goodness. It's not, the weekends are worse because, David has off, but for the most part, we're doing okay because I'm just tired, and I know with busy season coming, I might turn it on when I go up there, but I'll be asleep in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, because we're catching up on all that because we literally, and like the kids, we couldn't during 2020 was terrible because we bought so many movies and series of shows through Amazon because we didn't have streaming to watch. And we just didn't have, So we've had all these DVDs and all these like Golden Girls and what other shows do we buy? All seasons, because we didn't have streaming and we were all
Yeah.
going crazy.
We went through that before we were able to find, because my Verizon, I have 2 cell phones. I feel like a drug dealer. Because my Verizon, my Verizon won't come in here on the homestead.
Oh,
But my AT&T, there's a tower right down the road.
okay.
So for the house phone, I have AT&T, and then for anywhere else, because AT&T doesn't work very well everywhere else, I have a Verizon phone.
Oh,
And so, I'll be sitting there holding my cell phone, and my pocket will ring, and people are looking at me like, why do you have 2 cell phones? What are you hiding?
what are you doing?
But one is literally my home phone, because I pride myself. The only wires that come in my house there's an extension cord from my generators, and then there's a power cord from my solar panels. And then the only other lines, there is an electric line that goes from the house to the well pump that's in the well.
Right. Yeah.
But those are the only lines that go to my house. Now, cell phones are a grid in a sense. The school system you can count that as a grid. There's so many things you can count as grids. But for the most part, when we talk off grid, it's the electric grid.
Right. Right. So how do you have, if you don't have any, you don't have any cable or anything coming in?
No, I have
the Fire Stick, you said. You use your wireless internet.
I have a Fire Stick, but for the internet, I have, it's an AT&T cell phone. It's like a thumb drive that I plug into my laptop, and then I use the hotspot on my laptop.
Yeah.
And that provides the Wi-Fi for the Fire Stick and stuff like that. Because it would cost me literally thousands of dollars to run. Well, probably a couple thousand less now that the Misty and Alex moved in down the road. They got it closer. But to run electricity and it's just not worth it to me. I feel so free.
Yeah. I will say we cut our cable back because once we started realizing I have all these streaming services we're paying for, but we're in Canada, so we can't get like some of the channels still streaming here. Like especially a lot of our local channels and like NBC, ABC, CBS, those things so I was missing them. Like we went 3 months and I'm like, that's it. I called them and they said, oh, we have a pack, because they finally passed a thing here in Canada where you can buy just 1 channel or 3 channels. You don't have to buy this 10 channel package just to get the 2 channels you want. You can actually pick and choose what you want.
Would be nice.
Yeah. So my satellite bill runs around $35 a month right now. It was $200. So we cut it back like huge.
I pay $60 a month for the internet stick and from AT&T, and then for my AT&T cell phone it's $50 a month, and then for this phone it is, because this is actually a Verizon plan, so it's like 80 some.
Our internet, we have terrible internet, and they know it. They admit it. So they've cut everybody's bills in half for the foreseeable future because it's so bad. Which I'm grateful they're doing that, because I really would have been angry paying almost $200 a month for really crappy internet.
Well, yeah.
So we're paying around $70, I think, right now with taxes and everything for the internet we have. I just want good internet. Like I'll gladly pay the internet if you give me better internet. Our cell phones here in Canada are horrible. We actually do pay one of the highest rates for cell phones. It was actually they did a big thing on W5 here. a little while ago, but why are our rates so much higher here than other countries? I mean, we don't even have anything. We don't even have unlimited data here as a thing on your phones. What you do is you have so much. We have the highest we have. I think it's 50 gigabytes on our phone. And once you reach 50, what they do is they slow down your speed.
They slow
like
it
you
down.
Don't pay more, but they slow down our speed. And there's 4 of us, and that's over $400 a month. That right there.
Wow.
And I hate it. Every month I pay it. I practically want to cry.
Well, over the last few years since I've known you, you're one of the ones that have made me really praise God that we were able to get a decent Wi-Fi, because I remember you telling me horror stories of like going for 2 days trying to upload a 10-minute video.
My video from Thursday, was it Thursday I put a video out? Yes, it was Wednesday. I can't even remember anymore. Anyway, that took 38 hours, and that wasn't even a long video. And that's kind of like it was a few months ago, and then all of a sudden it got a little bit better the last few months, and now we're reverting back again, which really, I think what happened is more people have moved in, so they're on the tower now. And they said they're not going to put any more people on the tower, but if people call and say, look, I'm not, put me on this tower, we're paying all this, they kind of almost have to give in and put them on it, but it slows the rest of everybody down. And we looked into Starlink. It's a 2-year waiting list, and it's a lot of money
up front, from what I understand. Yeah.
Right now it's 50% off. So instead of $750, it's $325, which is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we don't know if where we're going, it's going to be available, and by the time it's ready, like we could be, in 2 years, God willing, we'll be able to move and go down east. And I don't know if it's available down there. So I don't know if you get your money back if you pull out of the thing. Like, I don't know how that works. So that's why we haven't. If I had known he was in the area 3 years ago when he came to the area, I would have signed up, but I had no clue. I had no idea he was already here. I thought it was still years away, and apparently he's been in our area for 3 years now. And I'm like, what? Why didn't someone say anything? So yeah, they don't want to spend the money to put up more towers because it takes them forever to recuperate, apparently, the money back. So that's one of the reasons. And I'm like, this is just insane. And, and I'm tired of the big C being an excuse for why the tower that needs work. Well, we couldn't get the parts. And then, we had that happen, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's been 3 years now. Figure it out.
Yeah. Well, now we have supply chain problems. And so I actually just watched a movie. Trevor called it a B movie, but I really liked it. But it was basically the whole theme behind the movie was our debt, our national debt got so big and we couldn't pay it. So China deactivated, they had been putting, because all the chips in your phones and stuff and everything are mostly made in China. So they had, years ago, started putting a kill code in all the chip. So they were able to, without an EMP, without anything, shut down all the electronics in the United States and said, okay, we now own the United States because you defaulted on your loans. And there wasn't anything the United States could do about it. So yeah, there's definitely a price that we pay for.
Yep, there is. I mean, there's, I'm not going to say I hate it because I'm on social media because I have a YouTube channel, and I love I really think the pluses for me anyway are out distancing the negatives. Because I've met wonderful people like you and, all of our friends now. And I found out, hey, I'm not crazy because I like to do these things. And as a military family, it certainly became a lifeline. Like David was in Afghanistan, and he was able to, I would literally put the laptop on the kitchen table at supper time, and we would have supper as a family. Well, he was in Afghanistan. He would help kids with their homework. He would read them a story, right through the laptop. And then just have our parents be able to see our children grow up, because we've never lived really that close. Like, that has certainly been a blessing, you know.
I remember when I was in Desert Storm, when we did make it to the rear, they would give you a 10-minute cell phone card. You
Yep.
had to figure out how to use that 10-minute cell phone card. And then at 10 minutes, somebody was tapping you on the shoulder saying,
Yep.
we need to move somebody
Oh,
else
yes.
in.
Yeah, we did many tours long before the internet, and
Yeah.
we would always say, "I love you, I miss you." You know, please. We'd always say that in the very beginning because we knew we'd
Yeah.
always get cut off before we could say, "I love you" before we hung
Yeah.
up. Because they mean 10 minutes. For David,
Yeah.
David got 15. David got 15, and then there'd be some guys who didn't have anyone to call, which actually kind of broke my heart a little bit. But they would share them with the guys who did have a wife or family. So that was sometimes we'd luck out and we'd actually get 3 phone calls a week instead of only 1. And his tour to, I think it was Kosovo, was when we got our first computer and we actually had email where we could communicate. And that was like a whole different world.
Yeah.
Because I could, you know, almost write. And then we still didn't have, when Gracie was a baby and David went to Afghanistan, we still didn't have like video chat or anything, but we did have email where I could send him. I had this little cheap digital camera that had just come out, and you had to plug it up to your phone your computer to upload it. So I would literally take pictures of her every day, so he would see her every single day. So
when you said you had to say your "I love you, I miss you" in the beginning, my vehicle, because we were broken up by vehicle, we had the crew and then we had the team that rode in the back. They mandated me, I had to tell my mom, send more jerky, because she sent us a care package with beef jerky or venison jerky, and send more jerky. I had to say it or I would suffer their wrath when I got back to the vehicle.
Because there were so many single guys with David, I would triple everything I would make or buy. So you know, I would send the extra baked goods, or I would send the extra candy. I would send the, like, because I would make sure he would share them with everybody. And yeah, I was pretty popular.
Yeah.
Guys I never even knew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that was the saddest thing to hear, that nobody had anyone sending them anything like that. That hurt, right? And I mean, we have organizations that send things, and I actually was part of a group that started an organization.
Yeah.
One of the very first big tours, when they first started happening, I'm like, this is not right. There's a lot of single men and women who don't have families, nothing. So we did, and we went around to businesses. I mean, Walmart donated a whole bunch of backpacks to us so we could fill the backpacks with things. And and it was, you know, and it felt so good, and it evolved into this huge thing over the years. So awesome. I'm not part of it anymore, but yeah, it was, because it broke my heart just to think that they're over there, they're away from home, they're in a terrible place, they're seeing terrible things. And the only thing that was hard when David was in Afghanistan, we'd be watching him, and all of a sudden we'd see this.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, just a minute, boom, and he'd disappear. And I'm trying not to cry because I don't want the kids to be scared.
Right.
Because bombs were hitting the camp, right? And they were told to take cover. And that was hard. And he'd mute it, so, you know, we couldn't hear anything. And that was hard. That was scary to see that.
Yeah.
But
we had reporters embedded with us. It was the first time they let reporters get embedded. And my mom, it was back in the time of the, what was it, Nintendo. And she would be playing her video game. She had a TV dedicated to that. And then she had a TV on the news, and she's like, "Oh, I saw Tracy today." I said, "Mom, you didn't see me." we are upfront enough that you didn't see me. I'm sorry, but I'll let you know if there's ever a possibility of me being on TV. But yeah, we were lucky that they let the guys have cameras.
That is so wonderful. That is really great.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I remember socks. Always send socks. Because your feet, you got to keep your feet dry and healthy, because if you had bad, that was the big thing. But I remember Desert Storm because I can remember I was in high school, and my dad was always on because he was still in the full-time service. He was always like had to wait, might be going. And I think
Yeah.
that's, and I've lived with that with my husband. You might be going, you might not. That is actually harder. It's like, can you just go already so we can get it over with? And that was worse, and the ups and downs. But I can remember when they stormed, when they landed on the beach, and all those reporters were there. And I'll never forget my dad being so angry because he's like, it's nothing like letting the whole here we are. We're all on this beach. Come get us.
Well, actually, that was part of Schwarzkopf's plan. Was the Marines. Everybody was terrified of the Marines and that big force that we built up offshore. And then we cut around, we went north, crossed the berm from Saudi to Iraq, and then hit, actually the main force hit from the west. But yeah, I'll never forget, we just got our orders that we were going to move out, that we were being deployed. It was January 8th is when I made it in the country. So this was probably January. Well, no, it was January 7th before we were about to move out to the airports. And my mom says, "You're going, aren't you?" And I said, "Mom, I can tell you I will be in the country before my birthday." And she wanted so bad to know the details, and I couldn't tell her. When I got off the phone, because it was a payphone, there was a private, and I was a specialist. Very rarely we could get down on the guys, but very rarely did we do that because we weren't really non-commissioned officers yet.
Right.
And this private called, "Yeah, Mom, we're leaving tonight." And I hung up the phone on him and I dressed him down.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Are you trying to get us killed?"
Yeah. Like, yeah. No. Yeah, no, I will say too, I am very grateful that David is retired.
Sorry.
Is that your cat?
That was my cat. Don't go back over there.
I'm great. No, I remember those days when we had our cats. But yeah, I'm grateful that David's not full-time military anymore. He did his time. He did many tours, many years, many trips away. Like he said,
let him know.
Time for the younger guys, he says, and girls too.
Let him know I thank him for his service, because
I will.
It's a lot of people look at, okay, America does all this stuff. Well, we have allies in the Western Hemisphere. Canada, the United States, the superpowers. It makes a big difference just knowing that you have other countries there with us.
I remember being in junior high, and I didn't even know until then that Canada was even in the Vietnam War, because they never talk. You don't learn a lot of, we don't learn about other history. We don't, for the most part, And I remember I was shocked, and they lost quite a few, men and women in the Vietnam War. And we have a Vietnam memorial, which we are going to go see this summer. We keep saying, and we're going to go to Ottawa and see that. And it's there's a couple memorials there now. There's Afghanistan one too, but we do want to go. But I think, and I have a different perspective because I come from the States where I was a military kid. Mm-hmm. My dad was in the service for 28 years, and it's a whole different culture there than it is here. Yeah. And it was a big culture shock in a way for me, because I was expecting it to be the same, and it's not. It's seen as a little bit more, they're more seen here as peacekeepers. I mean, they even call them peacekeeping missions, and you don't really hear them except for maybe the special forces guys, which they do have here in Canada in the military. We do have them. And like David said, it's hard because the soldiers feel like soldiers and they feel it, but the way they're seen here, it's now the Afghanistan war did change things. Yeah, it really opened people's eyes, and it really changed a lot. And there was a lot of pride in the military, especially here in Trenton, because this is where they would repatriate the ones who lost, and there would always be people lined up, always. To send them home. So that if there's anything good that came out of that, which it's hard to say, but I mean that it did change perception quite a bit. Yeah. But it's quite a it's quite a difference here.
we didn't know the extent of when I was in Germany. We were at a place called Garlstadt, and which was just south of the Bremerhaven port on the North Sea. And our mission was to receive 2nd Armored Division from Fort Hood and get them set up. We were like a forward detached if things went bad with Russia. And the first time I heard anything about Canada having an army, I was in the Pack and Combine Club getting blitzed out of my mind. I used to drink back then. And there was this Canadian soldier. They had the olive drab type camouflage. I always liked their camouflage and the berets. And this British soldier walked up to him. We had a lot of British soldiers, and he says, "You got bloody fag?" And the Canadian soldier thought he was calling him a homosexual.
That's what they call cigarettes.
Yeah. And the Canadian soldier proceeded to demolish the British soldier. And it was just, oh my goodness. I'm like, okay, don't mess with Canadians. Good to know.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because a lot of military people have a hard time with retirement. And I guess because David's not 100% retired, because he's still in the reserve unit, like he still wears a military uniform. He's still got his rank and everything. But we know he doesn't have to go do tours and go away anymore and things like that. So that is different. But David's enjoying it, and it's well deserved. Like I'm like he said, he's in a job where he's not responsible for people anymore, and because that's a lot, you know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility, and that's off his shoulders now. And like he says, he goes and he works. He always says, I don't know if you ever watched Seinfeld, but do you remember when George went to work for Kruger? And he says, "We're Kruger. We don't care." David says, "I'm working at Kruger." Nobody cared. Everyone's like, well, and he's like, "Well, what's my job? What exactly am I supposed to do? I don't know." You know,
When I got out of the active duty, and I had to do I was supposed to do a 4-year stint in the National Guard, and I ended up quitting because I have an honorable discharge from the United States Army and a general or just it's a less than honorable, but it's from the National Guard, New York Army National Guard, because one day I got up behind, they put me on a tow missile, which is a Humvee with a tow missile on it. And it was really cool. But one day I got up behind the tow missile and I was supposed to do a function check on the weapon, and I didn't remember how to do it. And I had been in Desert Storm, and I knew how important it was for all that stuff to be reflexive, right. To be able to say, okay, boom, 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 boom. And so I went to my platoon sergeant and the first sergeant, and I told him, I said, we need to stop doing all the retention stuff. People are joining to have to do the training. They're not joining to have all this retention stuff. Hey, if you stay in, we'll do this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. And they wouldn't listen. So I said, okay, I want out. And they said, okay, next month we'll start your paperwork. Well, that next month I said, I want out. We'll start your paperwork next month. And finally I got to the point where they said, we'll start your paperwork next month. I said, I won't be here next month. So from the National Guard, or from the active duty United States Army, I have an honorable discharge as a specialist E4. And from the National Guard, I have I think it's a general discharge as a private E1 because every weekend I didn't show up, they would take a rank. I still, to this day, have more ribbons on my chest than the captain that
Oh yeah, I mean David's like medals, like his chest is full of them. And we
Yeah,
go to parades, and he'd have like a chief next to him. The chief would have like the one little bar that you get for being in 12 years.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know? And it's like, how can you even
Well,
stand next to him,
my
knowing he's got so
very
many medals?
yeah, my very first drill where we had a Class A inspection, the captain comes through with the first sergeant behind him, and the captain looked at my chest, and he's like, I had the combat infantryman's badge and stuff, and all he had was like the OCS or something like that, and the thanks
Yeah,
for coming
yeah,
ribbon. And he says, "What are you, a PX soldier?" And I just stood there at attention, and he says, "You need to take that off." And I said, "First Sergeant, please inform the captain he's welcome to try to take the combat infantryman's badge off, but it will not turn out good for either one of us." And the first sergeant said, "Yeah, Captain, he was in Desert Storm, and the captain said, 'Oh, I'm sorry,' and apologized and
yeah.
stuff." But that
Yeah, no,
I
yeah,
was like, no, I had friends die so I could wear that.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it just, yeah, I see the difference in David. He's so much less stressed.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
it
like,
is.
it just, he is. He's just, and it's, we kind of wish we'd done it maybe 2 years sooner, but you can't, like David always
Right.
says, you can't look back, but
Right.
we did it now. So, but I've got a couple of men who want the internet back because they want to watch, I think,
Okay.
a horror movie.
Oh, nice.
I hate horror movies, and now that Aiden can watch them, David's so happy because he's got a buddy to watch them with, because I never would. So, yeah, I was going to say my husband too. His is, and it's so silly here because they're not allowed to go 2 levels. So it's like his is all the way out past his shoulder now. Like they
Oh,
stick
wow.
out like this. Oh, because
They
they're
don't
not
let
allowed
them.
to.
They don't let them build them. I think I've got 3 rows and then the CIB.
Yeah, it has to go all straight across. They're not allowed to build them up. I don't know why, because it looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
It really does, because it sticks out past his shoulder. But that's what he has to do. But we keep saying he does have them specially mounted to go on his uniform. But now that he doesn't really have to wear that anymore, we need to get him like put into something for him, like a shadow box or something, so he can have them. I think they're still on one of his uniforms, I think, that's hanging in our closet. So
Now he's coming with you to the conference?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh, good. I look so forward to meeting him.
Yep. He'll be coming. And he spent a lot of time last year talking with Marcy's husband, Jason, because he really didn't know a lot of people. So and this time we have more time. We did find out, though, the day we were going to leave like after lunch. Our son has got one of his first major track meets of the year that day. So we might not get there until after supper. So we're a little disappointed, but I mean, what am I going to do? That's when it's just bad timing. So we're still going to come and stay Friday night and stay Saturday night and leave Sunday. So we don't have to leave so early Saturday morning to get there for we want to already be there and then just drive like the 5 minutes to the conference. But so we might not make supper. I think Angie's doing supper Friday. Was she doing supper Friday or Saturday?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember how that's going to go, but so we won't be there for that. But I think maybe Angie was going to do it after the conference. So maybe Saturday.
I don't know, but I'm looking forward to that lasagna. I've heard so much about her lasagna.
I'm just looking forward to, we didn't get to meet you last year.
Yeah.
So it's nice, and here's another plus, at least we do have this that we get to talk, and we chat we all chat every day on our group chat.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're all a lot chattier than I'm ready for first thing in the morning, and I'm like scrolling through.
Yeah. I've been waking. I am more sun oriented.
Me too.
And so like if I open my eyes and the sun, there's no light outside, I hit the snooze button. Yeah. So sometimes I come in and I've got like people that have started talking at like 5:30 in the morning and that I have to catch up on.
Yeah. because it's 6:30 their time, some of them,
Yeah.
right? So that makes a difference. But yeah, this time of year, I find I'll start getting up earlier because I'm like the sun wakes me up and I have more energy, and we're just meant to, hibernate in the winter.
Yeah.
So Tracy, thanks so much for coming on. And for all of you, if you haven't already, Tracy is so close to getting his 1,000 subs. Like, I mean, you must be able to taste it.
Yeah. I think I've got 921 right now.
Oh, so if you have a chance, I don't know if I have any admins left in here or not. But yeah, he's so close. His watch hours are still.
I have 3,257, so that is like 743, I think.
So he's
watch hours.
Yeah. And so we need to get him. Hopefully, get him some more watch hours. Get him up there to that 1,000, and that'd be great. I know for me, I haven't gone, and I've been gaining and losing the same 5 or 6 subs since January. It's very weird. I'll wake up and I have 1,369, and then the next day I'm back down to 1,361.
Yeah, I think they're doing spring cleanup, because I've been going down 3 to down 3, then up 3.
So I'm kind of been a little nervous because I've been like stagnated. Like I haven't been able to, seem to move. So hopefully, of course, we're coming into the time of year where a lot of people aren't watching YouTube because everyone's outside enjoying the weather.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go down to 2 videos a week plus my lives, because trying to do 3 videos with my internet problems, it's causing me a lot of stress, because I'm like, oh my gosh, if I don't get this one up, that puts me behind for the next one. Like I've been too stressed about it, and I'm like, this is no.
Yeah.
So there's a new video coming out tomorrow. I was going to do it today, and I'm like, nope, we're going to go back to 2 days a week. So there's a new one coming out tomorrow. That one uploaded quick. I was shocked. That was like done this morning. So, and I'm excited because I finally learned I did my water glassing eggs. I've been wanting to do it forever. So
I'm going to have to do that because I'm on Shed Wars now, and
it's so easy. It is so stinking easy. The hardest thing for me was finding the stuff I needed. That was the hardest part. Other than that, it is so easy. And we've got at least already we're getting close to 3 dozen now saved.
Oh, wow. So, I really want to do some pickle some eggs.
Yeah.
Trying to get that weight for the Shed Wars.
So, all right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I know I lost a few, but I think at one point I was up to like 19 or 20. That's one of the highest I've had in a while. So thank you all. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the weekend. Hopefully, I know our weather's turning. We're turning on Monday. So I'm going to go hopefully check on my garlic and see how that's looking. If more snow melts, I can go take a peek at it. So everyone have a great weekend, and we'll see you all soon, and look for tomorrow's video. And if you have a chance, go check out Tracy's channel, THAM141 Homestead, and hit that subscribe button, and let's get him to his goal. I'd like to give him to your goal by the time we go to the conference in May.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
So we can celebrate all of us who've made it. So then we got to work on Mary Lynn.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, everyone. Have a good night. Take care.
Night, guys.